Okay, so in 7.2, you have to graph trig functions, and you're supposed to fill out a table, but that's kind of weird, so we're going to skip that. So here's what I want you to do. So I've broken this podcast up into two parts. So your book says for A, B, and C to do this stuff here, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do this stuff here like how we did in class. And then the second part, I'm going to show you how to actually solve the two equations that they have. So this is 7.2, number 11. Alright, so remember that when we have an equation, y equals cosine 2x minus pi over 3, where we have both a horizontal stretcher compression and a horizontal shift, we need to factor out what we are sining or cosining. Right, so here we have y equals cosine, and I have 2 times the quantity x minus pi over 6. So now I've separated out the horizontal shift from the period information, the horizontal compression information. And so is this thing vertically flipped? No. What's my amplitude? It's 1. My period is 2 pi over b, so 2 pi over 2 is just pi. And my horizontal shift is pi over 6 to the right. My midline is 0. So I'm not going to find the key points just yet. What I want to do next is to graph. Okay. So I start with moving pi over 6 to the right, okay, and I know that my period is pi, so pi over 6 plus pi is 7 pi over 6, so that's where I'm going to end, okay? And then what I need to do is to come up with my quadrantal angles. So what I do is I take my pi, which is my period, and I divide it by 4, which is pi over 4. So, to figure out what each one of these quadrantal angles are, I take pi over 6, and to that I add pi over 4. But I need a common denominator, right? So this is equal to 2 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12, which is 5 pi over 12. And so this is 5 pi over 12. And then I take that 5 pi over 12, and to that I add pi over 4, which is 3 pi over 12. For a total of 8 pi over 12. My ink is disappearing. And that simplifies to 2 pi over 3. So this is 2 pi over 3. Okay, then I take that 8 pi over 12, and to that I add 3 pi over 12, which gives me 11 pi over 12. And so 11 pi over 12 goes here. And then I take that 11 pi over 12, and I add another 3 pi over 12, and that is 14 pi over 12, and that simplifies to 7 pi over 6. So I did that correctly. So now I'm ready to draw in my graph. Remember that it is a cosine, right? That is not vertically flipped, so I start at 1, right? Which goes all the way to -1. So I go 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1. And that's the shape of my graph. And now I'm ready to list out my 5 key points. So I have pi over 6, comma 1, and then I have 5 pi over 12, comma 0, and then I have 2 pi over 3, comma -1, it's a comma, and then I have 11 pi over 12, comma 0, and last but not least I have 7 pi over 6, comma 1. And that is how you should do this problem. Okay? So this is getting to be long, so I'm going to stop here and then record another video on how to do parts D and E where you actually have to solve the equation. Okay?